I mean, about how many people get drinking water from Geist?
Oh, honestly, I don't. We'll get that exact figure.
Yeah.
But it feeds Indianapolis.
Right. Yep. And we're excited to see her.
Oh, it isn't going to work with that, is it?
That's all right. We'll no problem. Yeah. Calm down. Anyway, so how long have you been involved doing this kind of work? Or just
well, 11 years ago, we started an organization called the Geist Lake Coalition, and that was to focus in on improving the community and stewardship of this asset, this public asset. Mm-hmm. And we've done things like fundraisers for the Fishers Fire Department, bought them a fire and rescue boat. We raised $67,000 in one night to do that. We do the annual fireworks here on the lake, and that doesn't sound that exciting, but it's really a branding event, and it's awareness. And this year we had about 15,000 people up on the Fall Creek Bridge that we shut down, and another 4,000 in boats, and made it a big event. And it's a fundraising event for water quality and community improvement.
Right. Now, and you're personally concerned about the water quality because you live here and drink the water?
Exactly. Yeah. And then just going back to the other piece, part two is that we then spun off about 3 years ago the Geist Fall Creek Watershed Alliance, and that's to get more involved in what's happening across not only the reservoir but the watershed in its totality, and then the linkage with central Indiana and Indiana, since this is a common cross problem here we've got in the Midwest.
And does it seem, I'm sure it seems like something that folks that live on the reservoir or nearby can relate to, and do they get concerned and are they getting involved?
Well, the answer is yes, and it's it's a communication and an outreach and connecting the dots and seeing how issue like this, where we've got green algae in this small cove and the residents are focused on that, but then understanding what needs to happen in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And then getting them involved. And we've been very lucky to get support of Representative Bosma, Senator Gard, and Senator Merritt. They're interested in clean water. And when it starts to hit people, in their backyard or their pocketbook, they tend to pay attention. And we're not really aggressive activists as much as just trying to improve the community. It's just a way for some of us to give back.
Great. So tonight you're meeting with folks in this area to talk about this kind of situation here. Is this is Back Bay?
This is a small cove within Back Bay and Feather Bay, and it's one of it's two side-by-side neighborhood associations. One of many. We have a very large one, the Geist Property Homeowners Association, that has 2,500 homes. So we run the gamut, and it's really to try to really get let's say 10-20,000 people that live in this immediate area here, fairly immediate, to be aware of what's happening. And it's not only just an issue if you're living on the lake. We know fertilizer impacts come from off the lake down into the storm drains, and obviously with this kind of results. So it's not only lake homeowners, but it's all of us in the community here.
Yeah. And if everything went your way, what would you hope to see in 5 years from now in this watershed? And
that's a great question, because we've been very grassroots oriented. We're trying to be strategic in the projects we pick. One is an awareness and changing behaviors where we can. Two, reduce the nutrient load within the reservoir or the watershed itself. Really identifying other things like aging septics that have an impact, stream erosion, sedimentation. So trying to get projects that will impact those, and also shine a light on what is happening here, what needs to happen. So the expectation is an improvement, and it's going to be a long run or race, if you will. And so incremental awareness and improvement is really what we're after.
Okay. Probably one more question is, so when you see this kind of algae out here, what's the effect on somebody that lives on the lake? I mean, is it odor? There's toxins if you are in the water, or problems with boats?
Well, we know that with some of the toxins there can be reactions, rashes. younger children and elderly have more of an impact there. Not necessarily inviting to go swim in. You know, those are the you know, some of the obvious things. Right. So you know, people are concerned not only because this is a drinking water reservoir, but it's also a public recreation asset.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay.
That will, and we'll probably